Hi, I'm Marie and welcome back to my wildlife garden in November. This month in the wildlife garden, we're focusing on providing food, water and shelter for animals in the cold weather, avoiding over-tidying in the garden and planting for spring. Before we get into looking around the garden, please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps us out. And if you have any questions about the garden, please put them in the comments. This month in our garden, we've been seeing regular visits from robins, squirrels and pigeons, and the occasional visit from a fox. Other birds that you're likely to see in your garden at this time of year include blackbirds, starlings, and depending on where you are, some migratory birds as well, like fieldfares and bramblings. So let's get into how we can help wildlife this month. It's a bit of a shorter video than usual because what we're mostly doing is just leaving the garden undisturbed for overwintering animals. But there are still some things we can do, for example, helping to provide food and water and helping to boost the shelter in our garden in some areas. Keep bird feeders topped up with energy-rich foods like suet, nuts and mealworms to help the birds stay warm. Now is also a good time to clean out your nest boxes if you haven't already, to make sure that they're clean and dry for the birds that will use them for shelter over winter. Remember to still provide water. Provide a shallow dish of water at ground level for birds and other garden wildlife, as their usual water sources may freeze over at this time of year. Create wildlife stacks in your garden if you haven't already. You can build a log pile with prunings and twigs to provide homes for insects, small mammals and birds. Place the heavier logs at the bottom and the lighter materials at the top, and put this somewhere out of the way, such as behind a shed or at the back of a border. Any clippings can be used and the pile can be added to throughout the autumn. Instead of removing all fallen leaves, rake them into a pile in a quiet corner or under a hedge to offer shelter for hedgehogs, insects and amphibians. Leave seed heads and hollow stems to provide shelter for insects, and the seed heads will also offer food for birds. Don't cut back mature ivy where possible, as the flowers provide a fantastic source of nectar and pollen for late flying insects. Later in the season, the berries will provide food for birds, while the leaves offer roosting and hibernation shelter for many species, including the brimstone butterfly. Make sure to check any bonfires that you have this month. Always check them carefully for sheltering animals like hedgehogs before lighting. Now is a great time to plant for spring. Planting pollinator-friendly spring bulbs at this time of year will provide a vital food source for insects when they emerge. I've gone for responsibly sourced bluebells and snake's head fritillary, which is one of my favourite flowers. Consider also planting, burying and fruiting trees and shrubs, which provide food and shelter for wildlife. I've listed some ideas here. Stay tuned for our December wildlife garden tour next month, and please do subscribe if you'd like to see how our wildlife garden is getting on. See you next time!